Find the product of 6 times 3x plus 4. What does that mean, find the product? Okay, so if they're wanting you to multiply, how do you multiply something like this? Correct. 6 times 3x is, and 6 times 4 is 24. Number 2, this time you're doing the exact same thing. They just gave a different direction. Instead of find the product, they say multiply. But since it looks like this, you have to multiply using the distributive property. When you distribute 2 to that entire trinomial, you'll get 10n squared. Correct. Number 3. This was a typo. There are no answer choices. They just want you to simplify the expression x plus 12 squared. What does that mean when something's squared? That means there's 2 of them. So instead of writing the exponent 2, couldn't we just mark it out and just go ahead and write x plus 12 again? Now how do you simplify something like that? Double distribute or FOIL. X times x is x squared. X times 12 is 12x. 12 times x is another 12x, and 12 times 12 is 144. So now, is that the final answer? Why not? Correct. When you combine like terms, what will the final answer look like? Correct. In the middle, both of these are just x to the first, which means you can add up their coefficients. 12 plus 12 is 24. Okay, I want you to take about a minute and try 4, 5, and 6. Binomial times a binomial. You do 3b times b, 3b times negative 4, and that gives you 3b squared minus 12b. Then you have to distribute the 3 times both terms, and that gives you 3b minus 12. But then you can combine like terms because the 2 middle terms are both b to the first. So it becomes 3b squared minus 9b minus 12. Is that what you got? Okay, number 5. You're going to do the same thing. You're multiplying a binomial times a binomial. X times 2x is 2x squared. X times negative 8 is negative 8x. Negative 9 times 2x is negative 18x. And negative 9 times negative 8 is positive 72. When you combine like terms, the middle terms will combine because they're both x. And that becomes negative 26x plus 72. Number 6. You do the same thing. You distribute 4x minus 3 to 4x minus 3. So that becomes 16x squared minus 12x minus another 12x plus 9. When you combine like terms, those middles will combine because they both have an x to the first. When you combine them, all you combine is their coefficients, and you get 16x squared minus 24x plus 9. Any questions so far? The test is this easy. This probably is going to be one of the easiest tests all year. Number 7. Find a polynomial expression for the area of the rectangle shown. So they're wanting you to find the area of a rectangle. Well, what is the formula for area of a rectangle? Length times width. Well, didn't they give you both the length and the width? Okay, they gave you a length of 2x minus 3, and they gave you a width of x plus 2, and to find the area, you're supposed to multiply. To multiply this, don't we just do what we've been doing on the last few problems? So 2x times x is 2x squared, 2x times 2 is 4x, negative 3 times x is negative 3x, and negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. Then you combine like terms to get your final answer. 2x squared, 4x minus 3x is 1x, and then minus 6. Okay, you go ahead and quickly try number 8. Okay, again, we're trying to find the area of a rectangle. Okay, and the area of a rectangle is the length times the width. So, what is the length for this one? Okay, what would be easier to do first? Go ahead and distribute that out and get what? Correct. It would be easier to go ahead and distribute that and make it 4x minus 16. Then that's the length. You're going to multiply by the width of x plus 5. And now you just FOIL, or double distribute, whatever you want to call it. 4x times x is 4x squared. 4x times 5 is 20x. negative 16 times x is negative 16x, and negative 16 times 5 is negative 80. Then for your final answer, 4x squared, 20x minus 16x is 4x, and then minus 80. Okay, go ahead and turn to the next page. Number 9, a greenhouse that specializes in growing bell peppers is divided into sections. The number of plants in each section depends on the number of sprinklers in that section. In a section with x sprinklers, there are 2x squared plus 5 red bell pepper plants and x plus 3 times 4 yellow bell pepper plants. What expression represents the total number of red and yellow bell pepper plants in a section with x sprinklers? What does the word total mean? It's obviously important because they've underlined it and have it in bold. What does it mean? Add them. Okay, well we have 2x squared plus 5 red bell pepper plants. And they want us to add that to our yellow bell pepper plants, which is x plus 3 times 4. Well, before we add, what would be better to take care of? Go ahead and distribute this, and that becomes 4x plus 12, right? Now we're just going to combine like terms. Is there any term that can be combined with the 2x squared? No. Is there any term that can be combined with the 4x? No. The only terms that can be combined are your 5 and your 12 because both of those are constants. So how many constants do we have now? 17. And there's your answer. Okay, number 10. What are the factors of the expression x squared minus 4x? So they're wanting us to factor a binomial. Does anybody remember the process of factoring a binomial? What? Okay, I see what you're saying. Write out both terms and list out their prime factors. What are the prime factors of x squared? X times x. So you would write out x times x. What are the prime factors of 4x? Okay. And so what do they have in common? Just an x. And that x is known as the greatest common factor. So you factor it out. Now, what we didn't factor out was left over here uncircled. In the top row, an x, so it goes back in first. And in the bottom row, we didn't factor out a 2 times 2, which is 4. And then you just bring down the minus. And that's your answer. And look, you can quickly check your answer. X times x is x squared. X times negative 4 is negative 4x. Does that make sense? Okay, now try number 11. Talking about how on the test, you might have two different answers that both distribute out to give you this. You've got to know which one's right. This one's right because 2x has to be pulled out. Both terms have a 2 in common, both terms have an x in common. Okay, number 12. Does anybody remember what this type of binomial is called? Nobody? I said it at least 25 times last week. Nobody remembers what this type of binomial is called. It's 4 words. Yeah. It's a special type of binomial, and you name it by, there's 4 words that are in its name. You're on the right track. It is a difference because the minus. Very good. A difference of 2 squares. Now, the reason it's called a difference of 2 squares is because b squared is a perfect square. B times b will make b squared. And 81 is a perfect square. 9 times 9 will make 81. What you need to remember about binomials that are a difference of 2 squares is that their factors are almost identical except for the signs are opposite. Okay, to get b squared, don't you just need b times b? And to get 81, don't you just need 9 times 9? Now, there are 2 reasons why the signs have to be opposite. One is obvious. To get a negative 81 when you multiply, you have to have opposite signs. But think about it. Isn't this missing the b to the first term? It goes straight from b squared to a constant. There's no b to the first. Well, let's look at why. If you were to FOIL this out or distribute it out, negative 9b and positive 9b would cancel each other out, wouldn't they? So that's why the opposite signs are needed to cancel out the middle term. Now you try 13 and 14. 13 and 14. 13 is another special case. It's a difference of two squares. Difference for obvious reasons, and then each of these terms are perfect squares. So anytime you're dealing with a difference of two squares, you're going to end up with two binomials that are almost identical except for their signs. Some of you really need to wake up and pay attention. To get c squared, you do c times c. To get 36x squared, you do what times what? Right. Okay, number 14 is also a difference of two squares because each of these terms are perfect squares and they're subtracting them. Okay, to get 169x squared, you do what times itself? How can you find out if something's a perfect square if you don't know? Can't you just do the square root of the number? The square root of 169 is 13. That means 13 times 13 is 169. So 13x times 13x would be 169x squared. And then to get a negative 144, a positive 12 and a negative 12. Okay, number 15. Now we're asked to factor a trinomial. What is the leading coefficient of this trinomial? A 1. Okay, the leading coefficient, a coefficient is always a number, and the leading one is a 1. Anytime you're dealing with a trinomial with a leading coefficient of 1, you're ready to go right away to the bubble method, which is where you look for two numbers, and those two numbers have to multiply to a and add to a. What numbers will do that? Okay, 6 and 1 are our numbers, but what kind of 6 and 1? Negative 6. Because look, when you add them, you want it to stay in the negative, so the bigger number of the two needs to be the negative. So your factors are x minus 6, x plus 1. Okay, go ahead and try 16, and I believe 17 is the same type also. Kira, I wasn't paying attention. You cannot do that because, look, it works when you add them, but is a negative 6 times 1 a positive 6? So we need to think of two different numbers. 3 and 2. Right, a negative 3 times a negative 2 will be positive 6, and a negative 3 plus negative 2 will be negative 5. So your factors are x minus 3, x minus 2. Okay, now try 16 and 17. When you factor this trinomial, what factors would make that trinomial? But the factors are x minus 3, x minus 4. Would it be okay if you'd have written them x minus 4, then x minus 3? Yes. The reason those are the factors is because a negative 3 times a negative 4 is positive 12, but when you add them, they add to a negative 7. Okay, next page. What are the factors of x squared plus 9x plus 20? Very good. X plus 5, x plus 4, because 5 times 4 is 20, 5 plus 4 is 9. Okay, what's different about number 18? Correct. Both of you are correct. The leading coefficient is greater than 1. It's a 3. And you need to notice right away that you can divide 3 out of all 3 terms, which makes 3 the what? Well, no, it's already the leading coefficient, the greatest common factor. When you can divide it out of all of them, it's your greatest common factor. So look what happens when you divide it out. Those cancel, leaving just x squared. Negative 12x over 3 becomes negative 4x, and negative 15 over 3 becomes negative 5. But I don't see any answers that look like that. So what should we do next? Bubble method. The bubble method, we're looking for the two numbers that multiply to a negative 5 and add to a negative 4. Well, since 5's prime, there's only two numbers that multiply to give you 5. 5 and 1. But what would the signs need to be to add it to a negative 4? Negative 5 and positive 1. But I still don't see any answer choice that looks exactly like that. So let me just show you what they did. They wrote down the x minus 5, see? But with the 3, they distributed it out to the x plus 1. 3 times x plus 1 is 3x plus 3, correct? Which is right there, so it's C. Alright, number 19. Can I erase the work from 18? Okay, number 19. What's the leading coefficient? Can you divide 2 out of all of those? No. So how do we solve one like this, or how do we simplify it? Right. You have to multiply the 2 by the 10, and you get 20. So now we're looking for two numbers that multiply to 20 and add to 9. What numbers will do that? Okay. 5 times 4 is 20. 5 plus 4 is 9. So x plus 5, x plus 4, is that the final answer? No. Correct. Because look, x times x is not 2x squared. So you have to divide both of them by 2 and then reduce. Will 5 over 2 reduce? So what do? Put it in the front and it becomes 2x plus 5. And then will 4 over 2 reduce? 2a, 2. So 2x plus 5, x plus 2, which is B. Alright, number 20. Same type of question is for GCF. Yes. You can divide all three of those by 4, which means it's the GCF. You factor it out. And what trinomial remains when you factor out? Correct. A squared plus 1a minus 12. But then you have to factor it with the bubble method by looking for two numbers that multiply to negative 12 and add to 1. How about negative 3 and positive 4 to make a 1 in the middle? Because if you want it to be a positive 1, don't you need a bigger number to be positive? 4 minus 3 is 1. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. So you're looking for a 4, an a minus 3, and a plus 4, which is choice B. Okay, number 21. Factor completely. Okay, what's the leading coefficient? It's 2 a GCF. Yes, you can divide all of those by 2, which means it's the GCF. And what trinomial remains? And now we need to do the bubble method of that by looking for two numbers that multiply to negative 16 and add to negative 6. What numbers will do that? Negative 8 and positive 2. Good. Because negative 8 plus 2 is negative 6. Negative 8 times 2 is negative 16. Alright, number 22. What is a common factor of x squared plus 7x and x squared plus 10 and x squared plus 9x plus 14? So what they're wanting you to do for this problem is factor both. Okay, so what would the factors be that would give you this trinomial? X times x will make x squared, and then what numbers multiply to 10, add to 7? 5 and 2. So what would the factors be for this trinomial? 7 and 2. So for this problem, what's the common factor? X plus 2. That's the answer you'd be looking for because both of them have that factor. Okay, number 23, we're just factoring. The leading coefficient's 1, so we don't have to do anything fancy. We just go straight into the bubble method by looking for two numbers that multiply to 21 and add to negative 10. Okay, but signs? Both negative. So that they'll multiply to a positive and still add up to negative 10. Okay, last page. Okay, number 24. Given the area of x squared plus 2x minus 15, find the missing side. So how would we find the missing side? Well, couldn't we just take the trinomial they gave us and factor it? Well, and didn't they already give us one of the factors? They already told us one of the factors is x plus 5. So now you just need to figure out what number needs to go over here so that when you multiply by 5, you get a negative 15, and when you add 5, you get a 2. A negative 3. Negative 3 times 5 is negative 15. Negative 3 plus 5 is 2. So the missing factor is x minus 3. That one will be free response. So you would need to type in parenthesis x minus 3 parenthesis. Okay, number 25. A concert hall is in the shape of a rectangle. Its floor has a width of x plus 3 meters. Its area is 2x squared plus 7x plus 3. So they want us to find the length. So aren't we going to need to take this trinomial and factor it? Because they've already given us one of the factors, but we've got to find the other one. How do we factor a trinomial like this? Can we GCF it? No. Okay, what multiplies to 6 and adds to 7? Okay, so x plus 6, x plus 1. But then what do you do on these types? Divide by 2, divide by 2, and this one becomes x plus 3, which they've already got, and this one becomes, right, so that's your length, 2x plus 1. Any questions? That's all you do. Okay, this test should not be that hard. You just got to put in a little bit of effort looking over things.